Hey, what up, what up? This your boy Gabriel Willer, and I'm locked in with my bro, Mr. Ferman Jackson Jr. on Walking His Ways Impact Voice. Loved your show, bro. Keep it going.
You are now listening to the most talked about blog talk radio station in the universe. Walking His Ways Impact Voice Radio. Be prepared to have your mind stimulated, your spirit elevated in ways you couldn't even imagine. Introducing your host and the mastermind behind this unforgettable experience, Ferman Jackson Jr. You will not be disappointed. Let's go!
Hey, what's up, everybody? I want to welcome everybody to another edition of Walking This Way's Impact Voice podcast. Today is Tuesday, December 28th, 2021. We're about to get ready to go into a new year. We're about to get ready to go to the year 2022. I want to give a big shout out to everybody who's tuning in tonight, for those who will tune into the near future. I'm very excited about this grown topic of discussion. We've come to our finances. We're planning and preparing, getting out of debt, setting budgets, having different multiple streams of income. Things is very important to us, needs to be important to us to help take it on to the next level in this phase of our lives. So I'm very excited with my guest tonight, Anna. She was on here before, and she welcome her back again with open arms, and she brings awareness, and she'll bring a knowledge when it comes to our finances. So I want everybody to tune in, get some paper, get some notebook, get some highlight, whatever you need. Write down some great information, do some research on your own, and let's make a better upcoming start of the new year. Before we get started with that, I want to introduce Kenny with the latest news and updates in the sports world. Also, he has some breaking news that just happened 2 hours ago. So, Kenny, take it away with the news.
How y'all doing, everybody? I miss you guys. Here I am again, and I got my music playing in the background. If anybody knows what that music is, it's called We Them Boys. We Them Boys. And We Them Boys means the Dallas Cowboys. Congratulations already. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. You are now in the Prime Zone with me, your host, Kenny Primetime Williams. Look, we've been away for a couple of weeks, but now we're back in regular schedule, and we thank you for tuning in. For everybody that was patient with you, I hope you had a wonderful Christmas. I look forward and hoping everybody have a safe and happy new year. But as we get into our sports news for today, we have breaking news that just come fresh out the press. John Madden, the Hall of Fame NFL great broadcaster icon, has now died, passed away at the age of 85. Everybody knows him. If you have a PlayStation, you have the game Madden. If you watch football, you know about the broadcaster John Madden. He was a legend. He was an icon. He coached the Oakland Raiders in 1977, where he won his Super Bowl, had 7 division titles, and made the playoffs 8 times. He was enshrined in the Pro Football Hall of Fame 28 years after his years of coaching. We want to send our condolences to the Madden family, the whole NFL football family. What a great legend we lost today, John Madden. May he rest in peace and God bless. As we move on to the NBA, they are cracking down on the COVID protocol health list, and Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving have now come off that list, but going on to that list has been latest is Draymond Green of the Golden State Warriors. He is now in safety protocol. We're wishing that everybody, please wear your mask. Please be safe inside or outside, because this new virus is real and it is serious. Moving on to the NBA. On Christmas Day, LeBron James breaks Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Kobe Bryant's record for the most points of all time against the Brooklyn Nets. The Lakers did come up short, but LeBron broke all records. So congratulations to the King, LeBron James, for now being on top of the all-time list of scoring for the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, let's get into this past Sunday's game against my Dallas Cowboys and the Washington football team. The final score was 56-14, and what a blowout it is. But before I go any further, the Dallas Cowboys have clinched a spot in the playoffs. We are now the NFC East champions, and we are the number 2 seed, getting ready for the playoffs. The playoffs are showing up right now, and it's getting in great picture. We have a lot of competition getting ahead as the Green Bay Packers are the number 1 seed, and we stand at the 2 seed. We're facing Arizona Cardinals. Will be coming into Dallas this week, and we will be ready for that competition against them. But back to the game against Washington. What a huge performance from the quarterback, Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott numbers was 28 for 34, 330 yards, 4 touchdowns with a quarterback rating of 131. Awesome and impressive. Also, the people that scored touchdowns, Amari Cooper, Dalton Schultz, Tank DeMarcus Lawrence, and offensive lineman Terrence Steele. They all had touchdowns. We cannot talk about the Dallas Cowboys by not mentioning Trayvon Diggs. He now has his 11th interception, which ties all-time record. He is doing an amazing job this year. He is also on his way, along with rookie Michael Parsons, to the Pro Bowl. So congratulations to my Dallas Cowboys. We're looking for bigger and better things in the playoffs, and we're looking for everybody this week to be fighting hard for a playoff seat. As I get ready to end this sports segment, I thank you for tuning in. God loves you. Jesus loves you, and there's nothing you can do about it. You are now in the prime zone, and thank you for tuning in. Back to you, Mr. Ferman.
Appreciate it, Kenny. Thank you for the latest sports news and updates taking place in our world. I also want to give a big shout out to Alabama. They will be playing here. Also, this coming Friday, they were playing in the Cotton Bowl against Cincinnati. That's going to be a good game. Roll Tide, of course. Even though I live here in Texas, I'm always going to be representing Roll Tide. So I'll give a big shout out to Alabama, my hometown of Mobile. Big shout out to Mississippi, where Kenny at. Big shout out to the state of Texas, where I'm living at now. The whole DFW, the whole entire world. I'm very excited about tonight's topics. I want to thank Anna once again for taking time with your busy schedule. I know you're passionate about what you're doing when it comes to planning and preparing, when it comes to our finance, when it comes to our goals, getting out of debt, when it comes to our spending habits, getting out that paycheck to paycheck living, learning how to put ourselves on a budget. So I know you got some great information for us. I hope people take heed to this information. The old saying is, you can lead a horse to water if you can't make the horse drink. So it's really up to you, ladies and gentlemen, whether you want to take heed to this great information or not. Nobody's not forcing you to do anything. If you really want to make changes in your life, change start with who? Self first, before anything else. So Anna, thank you once again. Introduce yourself to the audience. Give us a little background history about what you do when it comes to the area of finances.
Absolutely. Well, good evening. My name is Anna Colby. I am a Mobile resident, and I am a financial coach. I began my financial journey, I'd say around 2015, 2016, when I realized I was not financially educated or equipped to take a financial kick. My finances were in shambles, so I took a personal interest in self-educating, and that's when I started my financial journey. During that time, I was in about $300,000 in debt. In a matter of 5 years, I was able to pay all of that off because I started learning how to save, learning how to invest, learning how to reduce my debt and spending. And so now I have a vested interest in helping my community do the same thing.
And that's some awesome stuff. And by you being determined, like you say, you self-educated yourself. You had that made-up mentality to say, hey, you know what? Enough is enough. Let me get my mind up out of this situation. I can move on to bigger and brighter days. So when did that kick in? Where you say, you know what? Enough is enough.
That kicked in when the money went out the door. So when I went through this hardship, I'm gonna just give you a little background story. So you know that I come from the food industry. I'm a restaurant operator. I run and operate 3 local chain restaurants here in Mobile, Alabama. But I also started my own bagel shop back in 2015 downtown. So during this time, I was starting my own business. I was operating these other restaurants at the same time, and I hit a financial break. When you are employed by someone, things can change without any notice. my income took a major hit. It decreased by 20%, and I was not prepared because, like most Americans that are living today, I was living paycheck to paycheck. So that means I was spending every dollar I earned, I was giving it to someone else. So when my income changed, I was not prepared. So that's when I really started educating myself and learning more about how money works and how to create and build wealth so we can break some of these generational curses. Because in my community, in my household, I come from an educated family, but we did not talk about money. We didn't. It was like a faux pas. You don't talk about how much you make, what to do with it. We talk about going to school, getting an education, loving the Lord, going to church, right? We talk about getting degrees, working, retiring, but we don't talk about what do you do when you start making income, when you become wealthy, when you start generating more money than you've ever experienced. What do you do? And so I said, I'm going to educate myself and I'm going to help educate my community so we can hold on to our Black dollars.
And you know, it makes a lot of sense. I know if you look on TV today, they always introduce us to the latest gadgets. You know, the latest iPhone. The new pair of J's came out a couple weeks ago. People was going crazy over that. People was electing their responsibility just to get those pair of shoes, but don't have anything to show for it at the end of the day. When I say that, nothing in your savings, nothing in your emergency fund. We struggling, and we put it is self-inflicted wounds that we put ourselves into. It's not nobody else's fault but our fault, because we have to learn. We have to want to keep up with the latest trend. So we lack that discipline, and then we get mad at ourselves. We get upset. We get frustrated, and we still in the same predicament that we in before. They're like, okay, the new year coming up. You know, everybody got all these resolutions. They got all these things, but after January 1st, everybody go right back to that same slump again, and then want to get mad at the next person. Where can, for the average person, where can they start at? From your experience, from your advice, where can they start at in order to say, you know what, I'm sick and tired of being like this?
Well, I will tell you, if we're talking about our community in particular, it has been proven that we are the absolute biggest consumers. So we are keeping the economy flowing because we are the ones who are spending the most money. And there's nothing wrong with spending money. We just have to get a little more educated and make wiser decisions about how and where and when we do spend our money and not spend everything that we earn. So if you want to get started on creating wealth, generating wealth, reducing your debt, it really starts with the mindset, because you can write it down, you can know what to do, but it's really about implementing and doing it. So you're going to have the willpower, the self-discipline to say, hey, let's start today. And a lot of times we look at budgeting as a bad thing. We look at it as like we're depriving ourselves, we're taking away like autonomy, but it really shouldn't be seen that way. Your budget is really telling you what to do with your money instead of telling you what you can't do.
Right. I know when some people get bored, they like to spend on impulse. You know, because they bored, they don't have anything else to do. I'm just gonna go shop, and then, oh, I ain't got no more money, and then I don't get paid until next Friday. What I'm gonna do then? I gotta have gas. I gotta have food, and we all been there before.
Yes.
We all been there before, and then you know what? Like, you know what? I'm not gonna do this no more. I'm tired of being like this. I am a firm believer in living on a budget. I am a firm believer on that. I am a firm believer on saving. I believe that we should not live paycheck to paycheck. That's one thing I'm going to talk about too. Eliminate some of these bills. The things that we don't need. I know we have to take care of necessities. I know we got to have food. We got to have shelter. We got to have water and stuff. The necessities is important. But I'm talking about eliminate the other bills, things that we don't need. How do you go about that as well?
Okay, eliminating things that you don't need. Yes, that's so important. And sometimes it can be tricky to do. So if I were you, I would write it down. I would make it plain. So, okay, we talked about creating a budget. We talked about allocating where we're spending our money. If you really want to get started and moving in the right direction, what I would do is you don't want to just list your bills because that's not helping you, but that is a good start. I would write down everything you spend money on. And you want to start with the things that are the most important. So you got a hierarchy here. You want to start with your four walls, okay? Your food, your shelter, your utilities, the things you absolutely need to survive. Those things are always going to be at the top of your list. So if your job fired you today, what things would you still pay for? Those are the things that will be priority. So your rent, childcare, utilities, lights, water, gas, food, shelter, transportation. Those things are going to be what's called your necessities. They're going to go at the top of your list. Then as you work your way down the list, everybody's needs and wants are different, okay? The way I feel about food, you may not feel that way about food. It's kind of high on my list, right? So the next thing you want to put on your list are the things that are the most important to you. Some people would say tithing and charity. Some people would say eliminating debt is the most important thing to me. Some people would say investing in my future. So you need to sit down. If you can't decide on your own, maybe sit down with someone like me, a financial coach or a financial planner, to help you prioritize your list of things that matter to you most. That way you can see what needs to be paid first and what things can we trim off at the bottom. It's like getting a good haircut. As you let your hair grow, sometimes we gotta clip the ends a little bit. So those things at the bottom of your list that may not be as important as utilities, food, tithing, savings, debt, those are the things you may work to eliminate, like those subscriptions that you are not using, okay? How many times have we joined the gym, like you said, at the beginning of the year, we go for the first month, and then we don't go anymore. Let's cut off those subscriptions, okay? If you're not using it, get rid of it. If you got Audible and you ain't listening to no books, cut it out, okay? If you got Amazon Prime and you order one package every 5 months, cut it off. You know, if you're wasting a lot of time with multiple streaming services, that's eating us up now in 2021. It's so many different avenues and so many different streaming services to invest in. Let's nip some of those in the bud, okay? Let's stick to the things that are priority to us. And I'm not saying you can't have those things, but let's find some things, 1, 2, or 3 things that you can live without, even if it's for a small moment in time. With streaming services, you can pause them. You can pause them for 1, 3, 6 months, maybe until you hit a financial goal, maybe until you hit a personal goal. If you need to focus on studying, because investing in yourself will give you the greatest return, right? So if you're talking about investing in yourself, invest in your education, maybe you need to cut your streaming off for a few months until you hit that personal goal. You know, maybe you just cut your gym membership off until you've saved X amount of dollars. And then you cut it back on and you can reward yourself.
Yeah, it makes sense. Making those moves, being very disciplined. That's what it's all about. I hear people say, know where your money go. Where my money going? And it taking time. I know as you being in this business and being in this area helping people, I know people may feel ashamed. They may feel embarrassed because we don't like I say, we don't take these things serious until it hits the fan. Now we got to pick ourselves up, humble ourselves, and get the help that we need. And I know a lot of stuff can be embarrassing to a lot of people when it comes to our financial obligations. I'm asking that, why is that we feel embarrassed when it comes to getting help, when it comes to our financial obligations anyway?
Finances are so personal and they're so tricky. We've been taught not to talk about money out loud. And so that's why there's a lot of hesitation and secrecy. And so I can totally understand wanting to keep your finances personal. So my clients, you know, their personal information, their personal goals, they get my utmost respect when it comes to privacy. That's number one and foremost. But you also have to know that we are not experts in everything. Just like you have a coach on the football field, a coach in the gym, you go to the doctor when you're not feeling well because you do not know personally how to make yourself feel better. We have to trust that there are professionals out here that have our best interest in mind and at heart. And so sometimes it may take sitting down with 1, 2, or 3 people until you find the person that's a perfect fit for you. But I will say, when it comes to your finances, when it comes to picking a financial coach or planner, someone who's working on behalf of you for your benefit, you want to, one, make sure you feel comfortable with that person. When you have a conversation with that person, it should be all about you. And they should talk to you in a sense where you understand what they're saying. If they're talking to you and you have no clue what they're talking about, that's not the coach you need, because you want to be able to understand what's going on with your money so you can make the best financial decisions. And they're there to guide you, not to tell you exactly what to do, but to offer you some options and help you make the right decisions to help you grow your money. So I would say definitely, yes, I can understand why your finances, you feel private about that, you feel secrecy, because we've been taught not to talk about it. But I'm hoping that as we become more educated, we realize there's no shame in talking about saving, investing, getting out of debt. We're all facing the same situations, just at different levels, and we can help each other out. We really need to create a community where we could talk safely about how to grow our money. But until we have that perfect space, get you a personal planner who's going to help you, who's going to sit down with you one-on-one, talk about what are your personal goals for you, your family, and your future, and let's get to work.
Yeah, that's it. You said the key word, let's get to work. And drop the pride, drop our ego. We don't know everything. And like you said, it's nothing wrong with getting help. Getting help from people that's already equipped in those areas, which is very important. Because we don't know, we can't do everything. God put people in place to help you in the areas that you lack in. So it's all about humbling ourselves and getting the help that we need. Another thing I want to talk to you about how this conversation all started when I reached out to you again was about the 3 accounts that we're supposed to have. I thought that was very interesting. I did read over it. So explain to the audience what is the least 3 or most accounts that we need to have on a regular basis.
Absolutely. The other day I was talking about the 3 accounts that you absolutely positively need to have. Okay, 1, you need to have a savings and an emergency fund. That's number 1. You need to have short-term savings. You need to have long-term savings. Now, with these 3 accounts, we kind of need to understand the difference between them, okay? So if you have an emergency fund, which is going to be your immediate savings account, your emergency fund is going to be money that you allocate and you set to the side that if your radiator goes out, your refrigerator stops running, you do not want to take from your everyday income, because that's how you end up in debt, okay? That's how you end up behind, when you take money that you do not have set aside to spend. So you want to have an emergency fund, because what? Emergencies do happen. And a lot of times people spend so much time trying to figure out how much their emergency fund should be that they don't even establish one. I read an article that said most Americans don't even have $1,000 set aside in savings. That is crazy to me. Okay, so if I would say, get started. It doesn't matter if your emergency fund is $500 or $1,000. You need to get started, okay? You can do something as simple as saving $1 to $2 a day, $20 a month, whatever you need to do. Establish that emergency fund. Now, when you become more disciplined in your savings, I would then recommend that you have at least 6 months to 1 year in savings. That way, if you're ever let go of your job or something happens to you health-wise where you can no longer work, you are still able to provide for your household. So you want to have at least 6 months of your income saved. And when you have income, that's talking about how much are you spending on your bills, utilities, necessities. So the first account is an emergency fund. Get started. At least $1,000, guys. Let's get it together. We can do that so fast. We spend $1,000 on a cell phone. We spend $1,000 on a vacation. We spend $1,000 on a nice purse. You definitely can set $1,000 to the side for you and your family. The second account is going to be your short-term savings. A lot of times you want to put your money in an account where you're not losing. And in a typical bank account, we're dealing with inflation. And if you don't know about inflation, that's when the cost of things that we buy on a daily basis increases. Your purchasing power is going down. The cost of things are going up. Okay. And this increases every single year. So when you think about how much did a bottle of water cost 2 years ago versus how much it costs today, that's an example of inflation. So you want to put your money, if you're going to use it within the next 6 months, 2 years, 5 years, at least put it in an account that's high yield, money market account, or some kind of vehicle where you can stay above inflation. Did you know that this November we hit a all-time high for inflation, 6.8% in November? That's the highest it's been since 1982. That is crazy. That means things are higher than they have ever been. So you definitely want to, if you're saving for a car, you're saving for a house, you're saving for your children's education, going to college, you're saving for a nice vacation or anniversary trip. Maybe you just want to be able to pull at your own leisure without being penalized. You want to put your short-term savings together, okay? Put it in an account that's at least doing better than inflation. Your third account that you want to set up and establish would be a long-term savings, which is also called retirement. There's going to come a time where we're not able to physically work as hard as we do now to generate income, and we may want to sit on the beach and drink our margaritas or read our Bible, whatever you may choose to do. You want to make sure that you're able to provide for your family when you're no longer physically able to work. So you want to put your money in a vehicle where you can experience compounding interest at a high rate. Now you have to determine your risk factor and how much you want to, risk. And that's how you can decide what kind of account you want to use. That's why you need a planner to help you pick the right vehicle for you and your needs. But you definitely need to set up a long-term savings. That's going to be money you're not going to touch for 15, 20 to 30 years, because that money is going to be growing and creating compounding interest for you. So your three accounts is going to be an emergency fund, a short-term savings, money that you can withdraw and pull from now without being penalized, that's doing better than inflation. And then you're going to do a long-term savings, your retirement account, the money that's going to help you live.
And I also want to add this one too. I want to talk about car notes.
Yes.
Paying our cars off in a timely manner. How can we go about that also?
Oh, well, that's easy. The first thing we need to do is stop buying cars that we can't afford. Just because you're able to get a car note does not mean you can actually afford it. Everything that you can pay for does not mean it's in your budget. And a lot of times we overspend in that way. So that's going to be the number one. It's nothing wrong with having a dream car in mind. I definitely believe in manifestation and speaking it and getting it. And I believe that if you work hard, you deserve the things that you want. But you have to also be able to know where you are and know what you can afford. Being able to know what you can afford is you have to have an idea of what you're bringing in and what you can afford to spend. And a lot of times we get the car note and we'll say a price range that sounds right, but we have not done the math to see, does it make sense? So the first thing I would do is, if you're creating new expenses or you're considering purchasing something large, maybe with your budget, you should do something like 50, 30, 20. 50% of your income should go towards your necessities. Those are your bills, your mortgage, your car note, the things that you cannot live without, okay? 30% of your income should go towards debt, investing, savings, tithing, okay? The last 20% is going to be for leisure. It's going to be, you spend it however you see fit because you earned it, you deserve it, that's your money. Now, within that 50%, because you're spending 50% on utilities, necessities, and things that your bills, right? So you get your income. Let's say your income is $2,000. That means you have $1,000 that you can spend on rent, car, things like that. So if you're already spending $450 on your rent, you know how much left you can spend on a car. All right. Also, that's when credit comes to play. We talk about creating a good credit score, building a good credit score. When you have a good credit rating, a good credit history, a good credit score, you then are able to get a car note where you can pay a lower amount of interest. What happens is a lot of times they hit us with high interest rates and you're paying for that car 1, 2, 3, 4 times, okay, because the interest is so high. Me personally, I believe that you should get a car that you can afford. If you're able to, absolutely pay cash, pay it off as soon as you can. Pay the car off before it's due. You will save so much money on interest. Okay? Those are just my tips.
Yeah, 'cause I do believe in take care of your business. I do believe in that. I believe in also if you have the opportunity, take care of this stuff, pay some of this stuff off. That's my thing there. Like I said, I'm paying my car off. Another thing I want to talk about too, doing some overtime on your job. You know, a lot of people don't want to put in the money, don't want to put in the time to get out of there. A lot of times, it'll tell you to pick up some extra hours at your job in order to get where you need to be at. Everybody know it's not gonna come out the sky. You have to go out there and get it. And so I do believe that picking up some extra hours, of course, to get out of that. Also, I believe in too. In order to get to the place, making the sacrifices to get out of the place that we want to be at, because it do take work in order to get to where we need to be at.
I'm so glad you said that because a lot of times when we're talking about our finances and we're talking about debt, yeah, you got two options. You can either reduce the amount of money you're spending or increase your income. And there are so many ways that you can increase your income. Like you said, you can pick up some extra hours at your job, and then we can also create other streams of income. Okay, so that's very important as well. I read a post the other day that said having one stream of income is too close to zero. And I totally agree with that. We read all the times that wealthy people have at least 7 different streams of income. And so a lot of times we don't realize, well, what can we do to generate new streams for ourselves? So one, your primary job, that is definitely a stream of income that can open the gates towards the other 6 streams. Okay, so you have your primary job, the job that you work your majority of hours. But keep in mind, with a job, you're limited on your time. You can only work so many hours, so many days. You can only make so much money. There are caps. So that's why it's important to create streams. Some other ways that you can create money would be you can create a service or a product. Okay, a service or a product that you can sell. That is another way that you can create a stream of income. You want to create something that can be passive or residual. Passive income. Passive income is money that you bring in that you do not have to work physically day to day to accumulate. So an example of a passive income would be if you had multiple rental properties. You collect rent every month, but you're not clocking in to collect that rent. You purchased the property, you got a tenant, and now you're able to create income from your rental properties. Passive income, a lot of times, like when you're getting dividends or you're getting collecting interest on a loan that you gave out. A lot of times when you hear people in the music industry, when they're getting paid for the song being played over and over and over again, those rights to those songs, to that music, those are examples of a passive income. Money that you earn that you don't physically have to work for every single day. You do the work once and it keeps on paying you residually. Okay, we want to create something like that. So we talked about creating a product or a service you can offer. Picking up a side hustle. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. I am the side hustle queen. Okay, getting some passive residual income coming in. Okay, being able to provide in those aspects. And so then when you start collecting on dividends and interest from investing, that's also income that's coming in when you start learning how to invest your money properly.
And that stuff plays a huge role. And I'm like I said, it's all about being prepared. It's all about be planning and preparing. And another thing I want to ask you about too, when you mentioned the different accounts. So for those who want to know, do they have to open up different accounts, or it could be within the same account? How do they operate?
Well, when it comes to opening up those accounts, these it's something you can do on your own, but I definitely think you should sit down with a financial professional so that you're opening up the right accounts. Okay. There, you can open up an account anywhere, but is it going to be the right fit for you? So what I suggest is, yes, open up 3 different accounts. It can be with the same establishment, the same company, the same bank, the same trust, the same vehicle, but there are 3 different accounts. And that's just a minimum. I really think when you really become disciplined, you're going to have more accounts than that. Because when you start making and earning more money, you want to open up an account for your taxes. You want to start opening up an account for your charitable giving. Okay. You want to start separating that money, having different spaces, different avenues, so that you're not dipping into your utility money. So you're not dipping into your retirement money. That's how you end up in debt, when you start taking money that you do not have to spend.
Yeah, 'cause the temptation comes up where people want to get together, they want to go out, the weekend coming up, and you're not in that situation to be able to do that stuff. And I know temptation plays take a total lot of people. When people come to you and say, I want to do this, but they got this coming up this weekend, how do you handle someone like that when they say, hey, I want to do this, but this coming up this weekend? How do you go about handling that?
Well, first of all, with my clients, my job isn't to tell them what they can or cannot do. They have to determine that. But what I can do to assist them and to help them is, when you sit down with your financial planner, when you sit down with your financial coach, you need to list out the things that mean the most to you. And that also includes people. Sometimes we overlook that. So when you sit down with your financial coach, I want you to write down the top 20 people in your life. Your mama, brother, sister, cousin, best friend, high school buddy, your best friend at work. You need to, your pastor, your godmama, the auntie that you just love the most, your favorite cousin. Write down all of their names. Then what you want to do is you want to write down their birthdays, write down their anniversaries. And so when special events arise in their life, you know that this person is getting married. Let's start setting some money aside. You know that this person is having a baby shower. Let's start setting some money aside. So you need to have some miscellaneous spending. Okay, you need to have some money set to aside for gifts, presents, miscellaneous, lunches, brunches, things that you want to do randomly. So when that comes out of that 20%, we talked about 50% being for the necessities. We talked about 30% being investing, saving, paying down debt, and eventually charitable giving. And that 20% being for you and your leisure. So out of that 20%, you create a percentage for miscellaneous. That's going to include your Christmas gifts, those birthday gifts that, man, I might want to go out on a Saturday night. You need to create a stash fund. Create a separate account, create a box, create some kind of form of money that you sit to the side. You set it over there, okay? If it's $5 a month, $20, $100 a month, depending on what you can reasonably afford, set the money to the side. So that way, when your friends say, hey, girl, let's go have mimosas, you say, most definitely. I saw a TikTok, it said, I will always have enough money to go out to eat. I will always have just enough. That's definitely me. I have a card just for eating because I love having brunch, okay? So whatever your vice is, whatever it is that you absolutely love to do, if it's shopping, set some money to the side. And another thing that I do is the reward system. When I hit a personal goal that I set for myself, I pay off a debt or I do something on my dream board, I reward myself. So before I do any leisure spending, so before I go on that good brunch, I'm going to pay a bill. Before I go on a trip, I'm going to pay off some debt. I'm going to put some money in my savings. So I do good first, and then I party to celebrate my good deeds. That reward system keeps you motivated. It gives you something to look forward to. So if I want to go to Jamaica, I tell myself, I say, okay, I want to have X amount of dollars in savings before I plan this trip. When I hit that goal, I'm booking a flight.
And that's what it's all about right there. So having all this stuff set up, having everything done decent in order, so you won't have to miss a beat, you won't have to lack anything, but you have different accounts for different things. Basically, I like that. That's very good stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
that's good.
that really good. Also, I want to talk. I know you, as you being a financial planner and things like that. What is the fee for your services? Because people always look for freebies all the time. I get tired of freebies. That's why I tell people, and I mentioned this on the podcast. If you want to get something done, invest. Put some money up. Put some work in. Get some overtime in, just for the things you're trying to get to in life. So how does it work with being a coach? You work. What are the fees you have in place for people who inquire about your services?
When people inquire about my services, first, you can definitely always go to my website, which is the spendingplanspecialist.org, and you can request a free consultation. That consultation is going to be you and I sitting down talking for about 30 minutes to an hour. And that consultation is absolutely free because we really need to assess who you are, where you are, what are your goals, what are you trying to achieve. After having that initial, conversation with you, we can better decide what tools, what services, what vehicles would best benefit you. Now, depending on what you choose, each product, each service, each whatever your needs may be varies. But initially, to sit down and have a conversation with me is absolutely free. But if you would like for me to sit down and create a personalized spending plan for you to help be an accountability coach for you, your financial coach, where I would call you once a month for 3 months, that initial fee is just $100.
That's it, $100. Can't beat that for $100. You spend $100 on everything else. But like I said,
$100 go fast, right?
yeah, it do.
Spending it anyway. You're going to invest that $100 in yourself, and in return, I'm going to help you find all the money you've been missing for the past year.
And that's true. And then, like I said, the information they learn from you, they can take it, apply it to their own lives, and help their families and set their families up in the right direction to go. And I love that. That's a beautiful thing. Being organized, having structure in your money and your finances. And it's that simple. And I know we make this stuff so hard because we never talk about this stuff. We never think about this stuff. I know a lot of people want houses. I mean, I want a house myself too. That's one of my goals, to have a house here in Dallas. A nice, beautiful home. I ain't talking about no rundown. I want me a nice, beautiful home in a beautiful neighborhood. So that's what I'm talking about when it comes to home ownership. What necessity they need to take when it comes to home ownership? I know you got to get your credit score up. You're going to have to take care of some debts and stuff like that. How do you go about being in the start position yourself and to start looking for a home?
When you get ready to start looking for your forever home, like I advise anyone, one, you need to seek counsel. You need to work with a licensed professional. And a lot of times you can do things independently, but you really want somebody with a insider information working on your behalf. So you definitely want to get with an educated realtor, okay, to assist you with that. And also, before you get ready to purchase your new home, you want to know what you're able to afford. And that's as easy as asking. You can go to your own credit union, your own bank, or whoever you may have a mortgage with. You can choose the company, Rocket Mortgage, Quicken Loans. You go and you see what you're qualified for. That's going to help you have some foresight. Foresight is really important because we have these ideas of what we want, but we never really sit down before we start looking to see, can we actually afford that? Because if you can't, that's when you need to start mapping out what do you need to do to be able to afford what you really want. Because I believe everybody deserves what their heart desires. We're blessed and we're supposed to live abundantly, right? So there's nothing wrong with wanting something big and lavish, but we got to do the steps to be prepared. So when you go to a lender and you get your pre-approval, it's going to give you an idea of what you're going to be approved for as far as a mortgage. Now, just because you're approved for $300,000, $400,000 does not mean that's the price of a house that you need to buy, because you could possibly end up in debt, maxing out, spending more than you really can afford on a monthly basis. Okay, but it will give you a good idea of what kind of houses you can look for in your personal price range. So I definitely want to say that, get a pre-approval letter. The next thing you want to do is reduce the amount of money you have going out every month. And when I say that, okay, you will have some bills, you will have some debt, which is fine. You may have a car note, you may pay rent, you may have childcare, health insurance, so on and so forth. But you want to reduce the amount of money you're spending per month, because the mortgage lenders are going to look at how much money you're spending per month to see how much you can afford to purchase this property. So you want to, if you're going to buy a house, don't go out and make a large purchase like buy a car the month before you're going to start looking to buy a house. Okay. And it's also going to put some negative marks on your credit report as well. Anytime you're asking for someone to review your credit or look at your credit inquiries, it's going to reduce your credit score slightly. So I wouldn't apply for any lines of credit. I wouldn't apply for new credit cards. I wouldn't apply for new loans. I wouldn't apply for a new car or buy new furniture, anything that you're having to lease. I would not do that if I'm preparing to purchase a house, because it's going to take away from your monthly income, and it's going to reduce your credit score because they're going to run your credit for that. Also, I would, when I say reduce your monthly spending, it's several ways you can do that. I would pay off small debts. So there's a method, you can call it debt stacking. Some people call it plate method, like one bite at a time. But what you want to do, you want to list your debts from smallest to largest, excluding your mortgage. And so if you have a hospital bill that's $200, and then you have your car note that's $500, you got another one that's $700, you just go in order of what's the smallest. Pay that off first. Then you take the money that you were spending to pay that bill, and it's not just free. Take that money, put it onto the next debt. And now you're creating an effect of you're paying off more bills. It's going to knock it out very fast if you do it that way. Debt stacking will help you get out of debt very fast, and it'll create more monthly income for you.
And also, bring this up too with debts settlement. Calling your different creditors to settle the amount that you owe. Or I know a lot of times now they're working out deals with you where if you probably owe 500, they said we'll take 250 and pay that 250, and they take care of it also. So what about also, calling different creditors? Hey, call these creditors up that you owe. Hey, and say, hey, I like to pay this off. I don't have this amount, but I like to get this amount. Well, better to settle with that. So how about that also? We're just calling different creditors up.
When it comes to like settlement and collections, I try not to speak too much on, credit things. That's not my expertise. But I will tell you this. A lot of times when you have these debts with these different creditors, what they're doing is they will take the debt that you owe them because it's insured, and they will then sell it to someone else for pennies on the dollar. They sell it to a different company. They're no longer worried about the debt. They've washed their hands. They've claimed their return because it was a loss for them. So they claim it on their taxes. And now a new creditor, it owns your debt, right? And now you owe this new person. So that's how you're able to settle. So even though your debt may be, like you said, $500, they may have bought your debt for $2.50. So whatever you give them would be a win for them. It's going to be all profits for them because your original debtor has already, sold the debt, got rid of it. They ain't worried about it. They didn't file their loss on their insurance claim. They don't, you don't owe them anymore. So yes, you can definitely call and try and negotiate. So when you call and try and negotiate a settlement or a payoff, make sure you get something in writing or via email, because these people, they are very sneaky and tricky. They will agree, yes, we'll erase this debt. We'll close the account. Make sure you get it in writing before submitting a payment. That would be my biggest recommendation. But you are absolutely right. You can call, you can negotiate, you can settle, you can try to reduce it down. It's always worth a try.
Yeah, because that's what it's all about. And also be about your business and financial planning. That's what we're talking about here tonight. Financial planning, setting these goals, starting different accounts to have a better version of ourselves. That's what it's all about for this upcoming year. And I'm very excited about that to help us get on the right path that we need to get on when it comes to our finances. No, let's get tired of the paycheck to paycheck living. Get tired of going without the struggles. Who want to? People get tired of struggling. And I think this is the opportunity. We're in the best of times to get the help that we need, position ourselves in order to get to that next level in our next phase of our lives. And I really do appreciate that. And the passion that you have for it, that's a beautiful thing because all of us don't have that passion for it.
That is so true. Well, I care about it, and so I care enough to care about it for others. We all have things that we love and that we're passionate about. So you just get with somebody who's passionate and they'll pull you along and help you out.
And it helps, and it really helps. So we know the different states that we have to be in. I know a lot of things, just on this financial journey. I know it's something we have to put to the side for a little while to get to where we need to be at. And I know that's when the real battle comes in because we've been so accustomed doing certain things. Now it's time for a new direction, a new change. The battle start within ourselves. And what if I so a person should always start off small, correct? Start off small, start off high. How should a baby start off on this new financial journey?
Well, when you're getting started on your financial journey, the fact that you're even considering it and thinking about it, that deserves a pat on the back and a round of applause. So when you tell yourself, hey, I want to do better, that's the first step. And so congratulations on taking the first step into financial freedom. The next step is going to be investing. And like I said, the best investment that you can make is going to be in your education. That's going to be something that gives you the biggest return. You want to educate yourself on what's going to be best for you. So don't just go in blindly. Start learning new things. Learn if you're interested in real estate, start learning about it. If you're interested in stock market, cryptocurrency, credit repair, whatever industry you're interested in, there's room for everyone. Start educating yourself and get around people who are knowledgeable about the things you have questions about because we do not know everything. Get with your financial planner and sit down and establish where are you currently. You really need to have a clear view of how much am I actually bringing home versus how much am I actually spending? And that's how you can figure out how you can begin to save. You can't do it without knowing where you are. A lot of times we're just working and making money, working and spending money, but we really need to sit down, pull out a pen and a paper and get some things established. Figure out where you are, figure out how much you're spending on a monthly basis. And that's how we can figure out what we need to do to get you started saving, paying down debt, earning more money, bringing more money in.
And that's what it's all about. So I encourage everybody, get your game face on. Be serious about what you want out of life. I say you can lead a horse to water, can't make him drink. But encourage everybody, say, hey, this is what I want to do. This is where I want to go. This is where I want to be at. And that's what it's all about. So, and I appreciate you once again taking time out your busy schedule
I
to hang
appreciate you.
out. I appreciate for hanging out with us here on the Impact Voice podcast. How about planning and preparing for this upcoming year? We know 2022 will be here. It's the last week of 2021. We're going into 2022. So, what advice do you have for the audience that's gonna go back and listen to this for the upcoming year?
As we roll into 2022, people, get some life insurance. A lot of times we don't like, that's another thing we do not like talking about. That's so important. Okay. If you have someone you love, whether it's your spouse, your parents, your children, if it's someone in your life that you care about that needs you, then you need life insurance. And you cannot afford to go another day without it. So in 2022, can you sit down with your financial coach and planner and get you some life insurance for you, your family, your future, your legacy? Can we establish that? Can we talk about how having life insurance can change the trajectory of your entire family? Okay, you can create millionaires. You can change the whole legacy of your entire family by having a plan in place for their future. Just caring about somebody can put other people in a better position. Let's break some generational curses and let's stop being afraid to talk about money. Let's stop being afraid to talk about life insurance Let's get together and get that will and trust. A lot of times we do not have our affairs in order. So at the beginning of the year, let's sit down and get a plan. Let's plan out our legacies.
That's important because I'm looking forward to the upcoming year. I'm looking forward to a lot of exciting things and learn a lot of different things too as we bring on to bigger and better things. And I don't like to say old, I like to say mature as we mature more and more each and every day. And that's the beautiful thing about life, maturing. Thank God for it as well. So, want everybody to be encouraged, be inspired, get some life insurance if you don't have any life insurance. I get tired of these GoFundMe accounts.
Okay.
And we see that all the time. Say that again, Anna.
Plate sales, they doing the GoFundMe, they doing the plate sales, and it breaks my heart because I can understand how easy it is to be in a position like that. So let me first and foremost say that we've all been there. But what I'm saying is we're now capable and able to not be in those same positions. We don't have to do that anymore. Okay, GoFundMe is not life insurance. And a lot of times what happens is when we fail to prepare and we have to, be resilient and think on our toes and get something together, you're already going through enough because you lost a loved one. It is very stressful trying to come up with finances that you don't have to put them to rest. It is very stressful trying to figure out how you're going to run a household with income that is now missing out of that household. So you're already going through enough. Let's go ahead and have a plan in place, so we don't have to be mad at our cousins and our friends for not supporting our GoFundMe, for not buying a fish plate. Let's get some stuff. As little as $20 a month can create some kind of security for you and your family. And I would love to come back and talk about the importance of life insurance too.
Oh, most definitely. Because that stuff is important. 'Cause I know we so we and I'm not knocking material stuff. I'm not knocking materialistic stuff. I'm really not. But it's to the point where we get so caught up in the materialistic stuff that we forget about our priorities. We get on social media, we flashing and everything else, but then before we know it, we on social media asking for help, begging for help, and things of that nature. And that's like the bad thing about it. And that's like the bad thing about it.
You got it?
Yeah, yeah. And that's the bad thing about it because we do all this flashy stuff, and then before you know it, we have a death of a loved one. Then we on social media asking for help, and our priorities are all wrong.
Yeah. I hate that. I see it a lot. And it just breaks my heart. Working in this industry, I've seen some blessing and triumphant stories come from it, but I've also seen some heartbreaking ones. I've seen people who said, I'm going to put it off, I'm going to get with you next week, and next week never came. I've seen what not having it can do to a family, and I've also seen how having it can be such a blessing and a benefit. It it was a Master P. Master P had a life insurance policy that he got from his father. It was like for $10,000. He took that $10,000 and he invested it into his music business. And now he is a multi-millionaire. Things like that. Things like that.
So, want everybody just to be encouraged. And like I said, Anna, you welcome to be on anytime to
Oh,
talk
thank you.
about when it comes to the finances and things like that. It's all about taking it to the next level, and that's what we want to do. So appreciate you again. Appreciate everybody who's tuning in to hear this great information. The replay will be up tonight on our YouTube channel. It will be up on Anchor as well, so you can go back and listen to this anytime. And like I said, Anna, also whether you anytime here on the podcast, because we just kind of sort of we love to implement on a regular day by day basis. Before we get off the air, Ken, do you have anything you want to implement? Anything you want to share?
No, I do not. It was very, very great financial information. Things that I actually picked up and will definitely be very helpful coming into the year 2022. So it really helped as far as my household financial things, as far as sitting down with me and my wife and getting our budgets and our goals set. I like when she said how if you pay off something, you work for something, and um, after you get it paid off, how you reward yourself. I think that's a very good strategy, and me and my wife will also be sitting down and strategizing and try to implement that plan as well. So it's great information tonight, and thank you again for coming on. And it was very, very great information.
Thank you.
Cool beans on that. That's a beautiful thing when the husband and wife can get together and talk about
Yes,
these
sir, it
things
is.
too. They better work together, build that bond up. So that's a beautiful thing to do as well, also. So y'all be encouraged, man. Y'all have fun, stay focused, enjoy the process, enjoy the journey, and we're gonna be back here next Tuesday night. Same bad time, same bad channel. For those who don't know, that's from the old Batman show. They used to come on back in the day. So man, we love y'all. We appreciate y'all. And
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to everybody as well. Also, so excited about the new year. So we gonna be on the first episode will be next Tuesday of 2022. So that's gonna be biggest up right there. So
And this is the last one for 2021. So
Go out with a bang.
go out with a bang.
Appreciate it. I'm glad you brought that up, Ken. I didn't even think about that for real. Wow, time flies. But man, we appreciate y'all, really do. And I thank you again. You're welcome here anytime to be on the podcast. We bring some financial tips to the listeners and get some financial freedom going on. So you bet about all the things you want to buy. You know, you want to buy that Lamborghini, that Porsche, whatever you want to buy, that $1 million mansion. You want to be able to buy all that stuff. But let's take care of our priorities first before we get to that level. So we love y'all. Be blessed. See y'all next time. Peace, everybody.
Have a good one.